Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last day of this incredible Forum 5 on Zoom. Who would have thought? It's such a wonderful experience, and I've enjoyed all of the talks without any exception. And I'm really happy to be able to bring a talk to you today, which is on a question that a few people have been mentioning, specifically all about sleeping. Right, catching Z's. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of sleep. What is good sleep? How much do we need? What are the physical components of sleep? And that would be the kidneys, is what allows us to have a good sleep. So we'll diagnose the kidneys a little bit, talk about balance and imbalance or dis-ease of kidneys. If we, depending on how far we can get, we can go a little bit into sleep as opposed to, or together with food and together with activity. If there are troubles with sleep, particularly a common cause of sleep issues is hypoglycemia, low blood glucose. So we'll see if we have time for that. And if we really have time, which I kind of doubt, we can talk just a little bit about feng shui of the bedroom, how to set it up for a good sleep. So sleep is one of the 7 barometers of health as developed by George Osawa, and Osawa was Michio Kushi's teacher. And in other words, he was, we could say, the founder of modern macrobiotics. So Osawa loved the number 7, very interesting. And he, in terms of health, had 7 levels of health, starting from vigor, or we could say not being tired, good appetite, good sleep, good memory, good humor. Number 6, I particularly like his precision of thought and action. And there's a French word for that, se débrouiller, and there's a Hebrew word for that, lehistader. And number 7 is universal appreciation, unconditional love. People, talking about sleep, spend astronomical amounts of money on sleep aids and medications. When we have poor sleep, in a word, we could say that it means that our blood is acidic from poor eating, and that there is an imbalance between our food and our activity. So 2 things then, one is diet and one is activity, including thought. Because modern life is so active, people lose their direction. There's little inactivity in our modern lives, or rest or sleep, all of these being counters to activity. Sleep is the time when our autonomic nervous system, as Bezalel spoke about in our first talk today, gets recharged and our bodies reorient. They find their direction or focus. If we lose that reorientation at night, we lose our direction, we lose our health, and we lose our life. Not compatible with living. When we sleep, we are being nourished by celestial elements, by the moon, the stars, the planets. The constellation in the heavens are related to the meridian pathways of our bodies. Sleeping at night is literally getting plugged in, like we recharge our cell phones. This is our food each night. The more we, or let's say the less that we eat during the day, the more we can charge at night. If we are not taking in that charge, then naturally we're not going to have vigor during the day. So let's talk about what is good sleep. First of all, is falling asleep effortlessly. Many people lie in bed for a half hour, 2 hours, who knows, and they can't fall asleep. Sheldon, his head hits the pillow and he's gone. He's out. Number 2 of good sleep is either no dreams or what we call true dreaming. True dreaming is a dream that comes to pass in life, kind of like a prophecy or intuition. If we have disorienting or crazy dreams, this indicates some poor nutrition. A true dream particularly can come about when a person, someone else, is making their transition from this life, leaving their body. And at that time, their vibration is so elevated that when we are asleep and we are undisturbed, let's say by a daily vibration, sometimes we're able to pick up that vibration and to know that the person is making his or her transition. It's very interesting when this happens, of course. Number 3 is sleeping through the night. Some people can fall asleep, some people can't, some people wake up. Good sleep means you can sleep through the night without getting up for whatever reason, including to urinate. Some people have to get up multiple times. It may be usual to get up, it's not natural. Restful sleep is number 4. When we get too tight, we can become too sensitive to noise and to our environment during the day, at night, both times. If everything bothers you, that cigarette smoke is coming exactly to me. I'm too tight, too yang in our terms of yin and yang. So at night, when we are tossing and turning and waking up or snoring or talking in our sleep, or a bird or a dog or something wakes us up, these are all signs of too much sensitivity. So we need to be relaxed to sleep. When we're hypersensitive, it means that there's an issue with our heart and small intestines, because these are paired organs. So extreme yin foods like, you know them, sugar, chocolate, honey, refined sweeteners, other ones, date syrup, and these kind of things. Then milk, dairy products, and also false dairy products like soy and all the other kinds of milks, almond milk, refined grains, tropical fruits, herbs and spices, too much fruit, let's say of any kind, and especially their juices, stimulants, too many beverages and fluids. All of these predominantly expansive items are the principal cause of restlessness. Garlic in particular, by the way, can overstimulate the heart. So it ordinarily should be used infrequently and in small amounts. And I use garlic only when I'm cooking beans or bean products, or if I'm making fish. Otherwise, I don't just use it here and there in my cooking. Number 5 of 6 is waking up refreshed and well rested. So good sleep means that you wake up feeling rested and you're in a good mood with a good disposition. So we don't need stimulants to get us going in the morning. When you wake up grouchy and kind of, we say, on the wrong side of the bed or touchy, it's a sign of poor health. If coffee and sugar were illegal, we would see just how poorly people are sleeping, because it's perhaps universal or certainly widespread. You wake up and have your cup of coffee. Of course, we wake up and have our cup of miso soup. And finally, the last one is the ability to rise at a desired time. Have you ever tried that? Instead of setting your alarm, you say, well, I want to get up tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and bam, you can do it. I've done it many, many times. Maybe if you want to practice when it's not quite so important, it's not like you have a plane to catch, we should be able to get up at the time we determine in our head without using an alarm clock. This is a barometer of good sleep. So how much sleep do we need? It depends on how long it takes our bodies to clean, cleanse, and to repair, and for the autonomic, or we could say automatic, nervous system to recharge. So logically, when we're eating dairy and meat and sugar, it takes longer time for these to discharge from our body and for our body to cleanse. Generally speaking, we can say that we should be fine with 5 to 7 hours of sleep. So you may be a little bit surprised. That might seem on the low side to you. And when we get ourselves in a good condition, that's plenty. People more physically active, or if there's a lot of stress, at those times you might need a little bit more sleep. If we eat well, and as I said, in a small amount, we feel fresh and we feel recharged in the morning. If we overdrink and overeat, initially we feel relaxed, sleepy, and heavy. The long-term effect is to create internal pressure. So our organs become tight and inflexible, and we sleep very poorly. Quality of food is affected by quantity. If we are overeating even good quality food, it's going to take the body a lot longer to cleanse and to repair. If you've ever had too many sweets or too much alcohol, you know that it takes much longer to get going the next day, right? You're tired. That's because it takes the nervous system a longer time to recharge. If we feel tired when we wake up, then we want something to pick our energy up. So we might take sweets, a sweet cake or something, or coffee or stimulants, or generally eat poorly, or overeat to make up for the lack of sleep. If you find yourself that you can't stop overeating, then let's look at sleep and look at causes. One feeds the other. If we go to sleep hungry, that also affects our sleep and makes it difficult to sleep well. So for that part, we have to plan a little bit in advance because we don't want to eat right before sleeping. So we have to think, I better have my dinner, not skip it, or whatever it is, and eat the amount that's right for me. So let's talk about the physiological component about the kidneys to know how much food is right. The kidneys are the organ that most influences our ability to settle down. Pizzala was talking about earth energy, the kidneys, corresponding to actually not the earth energy, it is that aspect of settling, corresponding to water, floating energy. The kidneys correspond with black, inky blackness and darkness and nighttime and water, this inky dark water, this kind of ocean energy. So if we have kidney imbalance, then it's going to affect, among other things, our sleep. Kidney corresponds particularly to our willpower. It's what's behind us to push us forward, to get us going, right? So if the kidneys are imbalanced, we'll have symptoms of snoring, groaning. A person particularly speaks with a groaning voice. Sometimes I even hear this on the radio. People who, there's a woman, I forgot her name, that she has a podcast. It's really awful to listen to. So especially in the morning, we can sometimes hear this kind of gravelly, groaning kidney voice. We can even diagnose it on the telephone. Someone speaks like this, we know that the kidneys are in trouble. Number 3, urinary problems, bedwetting and this kind of thing. Number 4, lower back pain, obviously, just where the kidneys are in the lower part of our back. The bladder meridian goes straight down the back, so any kind of back pain, and particularly where the kidneys are, indicates kidney imbalance. 5, swelling of the lower legs and ankles. You know where they are. Number 6, if our physical and or our mental vitality is declining, that's an symptom, an indication of kidney imbalance. Number 8 is insomnia. That's kind of clear by now. We've said that. Number 9, drowsiness during the day. Could be some weakness in the kidneys. And finally, when the extremities are cold, I don't mean that you're outside sledding, which we don't do in Israel. When you're, let's say, sleeping or during the day or whatever, and the hands, particularly the fingers, particularly the tips, same on the feet, are cold. That means that the circulation is somewhat remiss. So let's diagnose the kidneys just a little bit. Look directly under the eyes. That's a good diagnosis area for the kidneys. The right side shows the condition of the right kidney, the left side of the left. If there is darkness or blackness under the eyes. That shows stagnation in the kidneys. There's toxicity that's building up. Often the result of too much fat, as in dairy food. And so that's darkness or blackness. We see that all the time, or quite often. Once you start looking for it, you can start knowing about that person's kidney condition. The next diagnostic point is also under the eyes, and rather than dark color, now we're looking for bags or swelling under the eyes, also showing toxicity. So swollen, watery bags under the eyes show that there's fluid retention in the kidneys and probably frequent urination as well. If those bags are fatty, and you can kind of feel or sense that they're not liquidy, they're more fatty, then it's showing mucus buildup in the kidneys. And if those same bags have little pimples or dark spots, that shows the formation of kidney stones. So just to clarify, I'm not talking about bags that are above the cheeks here. Let me show you, not here. This would indicate intestines. Rather, I'm talking about bags that are directly under the eyes. And 1 second. Okay, and finally, redness rather than darkness, or even a purplish color under the eyes, shows a condition of inflammation, generally from sweets, fruits, and yin foods. The ears are another place that we can diagnose the kidneys. The ears are normally the same color as the face. When they are red in color, I don't mean from the sun, I mean in general, then the kidneys are swollen from too much fruits, sweets, and liquids in general, yin causes. If we look at the bottom of the foot, and well, I don't think I can get up here to show you. Nope. Oh, hold on. Just a moment. Somebody wants my attention. Aha. 1 second. Okay. If the bottom of the feet here, if there is pain or hardness or calluses at the bottom of the foot, at what's called bubbling springs, it's an acupuncture point, which is, if this is the foot, I'm not talking about the center of the foot here, I'm talking about further up. So on the foot, we have these two areas, and right here on the foot, so not in the center again, a little bit higher up in the center. This is called kidney 1, number 1. You can look it up easily. Kidney 1, also called bubbling springs, it being hard or painful when pushed or calloused, shows fat accumulating in the kidneys and showing stone formation. Another one, poor posture, often shows kidney troubles. When the kidneys are tight, it's difficult to stand up straight, and people start contracting and going forward. Many people don't realize how tight their kidneys are. And it means if the kidneys are tight, that the corresponding area in front of the intestines is swollen. Kidneys tight, intestines swollen. And last one, wet hands. When the hands are sweaty and moist, that means that there's too much liquid being discharged. The hands become all wet and clammy. And obvious cause for this one, too much liquid food, and also too much eating overall. So yin and yang causes of kidney imbalance, yang causes could be animal protein and fat in excess, especially chicken and their eggs, and also especially cheeses. These things cause hardness and excess gathering in the kidneys. Hard cheese may be one of the leading physical causes of kidney cancer. So easy and so unnecessary. A second yang cause of kidney imbalance is refined salt. As opposed to sea salt, refined salt makes a very contracted condition in the kidneys, again seen in this darkness under the eyes. And the modern diet, particularly in restaurants, is high in refined salt, and that makes trouble over time. So you say, oh, I'm going to a restaurant, I'm ordering fish and salad. You don't know the quality of the fish, of the salt, of the vegetable, of the oil, of the chef. So if you're in good condition, okay, you can enjoy. If your condition is rather compromised, be careful. Now for some yin causes of kidney imbalance, you can know them by now. Ice cold foods harden the animal proteins and fats already in the body, even old stuff. So tropical fruits, fruit smoothies, cold foods, and concentrated sugar freezes the body. Things just get stopped. All ice cold drinks and ice creams, even the soy ones and the rice ones or whatever, non-dairy frozen yogurt, have a freezing effect on the kidneys. Next one, over drinking and overeating puts great strain on the kidneys, especially chemicalized foods and toxins. That's another yin cause. Another one after this is foods that are high in what's called oxalic acid or oxalic acid. So this acid can create kidney stones. And that's why in macrobiotics, we minimize the foods where oxalic acid is found, that being spinach, beets, and also their greens, beet greens called mangold, and nightshade vegetables, the lovely tomato, potato, and aubergine eggplants. A good idea if you want to create kidney stones would be to have a few slices of pizza with nightshade vegetables. Of course, there's the tomato on top, and then there's cheese. If you're mixing and matching, pepperoni with that as well, extra cheese. And then you finish it off with an ice cream sundae with hot fudge, a diet soda with ice, of course. This is a recipe for accumulation and hardness in the kidneys. And then the next cause, strong sweets like sugar, chocolate, maple syrup, honey. These things don't support the kidneys because kidneys don't respond well to sweets. The taste associated with kidney transformation or element is salt. Kidneys are nourished by good quality minerals like sea salt, miso, sea vegetables, soy sauce, good quality. And finally, last one is interesting, waterbeds. Waterbeds don't promote a good sleep that comes from allowing your body to settle down. Yet, many people with kidney troubles love this floating energy. An air mattress is much better, and the best for a deep sleep is a cotton futon. And people with difficulties in their kidneys and lower back can have a hard time sleeping on a futon. So in this case, try a very thick or even a double futons, one on top of the other. I don't recommend sleeping on latex mattresses, which are among the most popular types of mattress because of their durability and the comfort that they provide for weak kidneys, these memory foam things. Magnetic mattresses can be too yang-gizing to sleep on a magnet night after night. The nicest material for sleep is cotton. Let's talk a little bit about sleep and activity. Activity means our daily schedule, our meal times, our habits, our eating. These indicate whether our life is regular. If our sleep is off, it almost always means that our daily schedule is off. So the first thing to look at with all sleep problems is whether our meal times and our rising times are regular. If there's too much physical activity, it can overstimulate our appetite, throw sleep off, and actually make it hard to lose weight since our appetite becomes bigger the more activity we have. Physical activity like sports, for example, changes our need for oil and fat. We need much more. Sometimes I tell people who are working out a lot or running marathon, this kind of thing, that it might be better to reduce the activity to balance their activity with their sleep. If we are underactive physically, couch potatoes, or going with that, overactive mentally, too much thinking, not enough moving, our appetite is not good. We need to be physically active for a true appetite. Ask yourself what it is you need. Do you need more physical or more mental activity to find a balance? Getting up in the morning later than 7:30 or 8 is not ideal, is not really healthy. The reason for this is that the lymph system and the digestion are rather slow and sluggish when we are horizontal. We can only take in the sun's rays and activate these systems when we are standing up. When you move about in the morning, you're getting rid of what you didn't use the day before. What happens when you sleep in late or fall asleep on the beach, for example, on a sunny day? You wake up feeling disoriented, like almost feeling drunk. When you get up, when the sun is up, our body has an easier way of discharging what we took in the day before. When we sleep past 8:30, these functions naturally are not as strong. When we get up early, we have an easier time discharging what we didn't use. When the sun gets up, so should we. The regular cycle with the most benefit to our sleeping is eating breakfast by 8 or so in the morning, lunch between 12 and 1, and dinner between, say, 6 and 7. When we are overly tired or we sleep in late and eat late meals, everything is thrown off. Some of the worst sleep problems I've seen are when people basically live against nature. So being up late at night and sleeping during the day, think about pilots, stewardesses, or whatever they're called, night clerks, nurses, doctors, night shift workers. These people have a difficult time finding a natural balance. The easiest way to regulate ourselves is to establish regular rising and sleeping times. This is one of the most difficult things, and we need to discipline ourselves, even put reminders on our ever-present cell phones and telephones. This doesn't mean never going to bed late or never sleeping in. When that is done consistently, however, all the time, over time, these practices have a negative influence on our sleep and our health. And finally, sleeping after eating means that you overate, have a hyperglycemic condition of unstable blood sugar, or that your body is so tight that you use eating in a way to get yourself relaxed. After we eat, we should be energized and activated, not sleepy. An afternoon nap is okay, and it should be a half hour, not 2 to 3 hours, and not every day. A general rule is after you eat, don't put your feet up. At least one foot should stay on the ground. Digestion slows down almost to a stop when we're laying down, so we don't want to recline with our feet up after eating. The best thing is to take a walk to help digestion. Don't put your feet up and watch TV. Don't eat while you're watching TV. If you have a hard time, let's talk about sleep trouble. If you have a difficulty falling asleep, say you go to bed about 10 or 11 and you can't sleep, just tossing, turning, generally the cause is yin, either food or activity. For example, being on the computer too long at night makes it difficult to settle down. The computer is yin, it emits radiation and we become wired. So I make sure I don't do anything on the computer or any screens after about 8:30. I found works for me if I go to sleep about 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that. Usually, it can also mean food-wise too much liquid in some form during the day, whether water, fruit, juice, salads, sugar, which turns into water in the body. All of these things are appropriate. Hear that airplane? All of these foods are appropriate, particularly in the summer, of course. We need to pay attention to ourselves and see what it is that our bodies need. In general, we can understand that liquid creates separation and rising and upward expansion. It becomes difficult to settle down. The kidneys, the organs of sleep, don't do well with excess water. The amount of liquid we need, how much liquid we need, can be determined by our day-to-day habits, like how much animal protein am I eating? Am I doing vitamin mineral supplementation, medications, and sugar and foods that we mentioned already? Also the seasons, our activity level, all these things affect what people find when they eat natural foods over time, that they don't need that much liquid. Drink comfortably and not excessively. All this talk about 10 glasses or whatever it is a day, not true. The modern approach of all of this water is based on people eating refined foods, meat, sugar, chemicals. A natural diet is high in liquids from cooking. We cook our grains, our beans, our vegetables, we have soups, all of this cooked in water. Around the world, the common denominator at breakfast, by the way, is liquid, whether it's tea or water, or those who drink coffee, coffee substitutes, even our miso soup. We have water in the morning. A good indicator of liquid need is how often we urinate during the day and the night, and its color. The average should be about 3 to 5 times a day, not more, with a light golden hue. More often than that, and the kidneys are probably too tight and can't hold the liquid, the urine, and we start to lose minerals as we over-urinate. The idea that we're trying to flush things out is not really a healthy way of living, of thinking. Your lower back should be soft and flexible, not hard as a board. Most people don't have any idea how tight they are. Years of refined foods and salt and so forth make the kidneys like a wall. The front of the body, as I said, gets distended then. Two very important aspects to examine are our use of salt and our consumption of baked flour products, BFP, baked flour products. Salt is used way too much in our modern diet, and particularly, as we mentioned, commercial salts. So restaurant salt and restaurant food requires much more liquid. That's the reason why people swell in their feet or their hands or their fingers, their ankles. And by the way, gray salt is too strong. Salt is already very young, so we don't want gray color even more so. We want a white color. Use good quality sea salt, not the refined stuff that pours. That's not natural, and also not crystals, because that's too hard and too young. The salt should be slightly moist. And here's a tip: when you take just a bit, nothing of salt, and put it on the tip of your tongue, the first taste is sweet and then salty. It's very interesting. That's how you know you have a good quality salt. And the next thing to look at here when we're talking about our use of salt is baked flour products. These are dry, and the more we take, the more liquid we need. The modern diet, of course, is replete with cookies and cakes and muffins, and who doesn't love these things? Granola, rice cakes, popcorn, puff cereals. Just watch out. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about to know about sleep trouble is getting up early, too early. When we get up, say, between 4 and 6 a.m., it's usually a condition of both extremes, of both yin and yang. It means we are eating in an extreme ways in both extremes, missing the central balance. What about sleep apnea? Which is sleep apnea means that there are pauses in breathing during the sleep. Literally, apnea means without breath. And these episodes can last long enough so that one or more breaths are missed and can occur repeatedly throughout sleep, and it's scary. The condition relates to excessive liquid on top, together with a yang condition. One's condition is getting tighter and more pressured till we can't breathe. Now, what about if we fall asleep and then we wake up, usually 1, 2 o'clock or so until maybe 4 a.m. This is the time when the liver is most active of all the organs in the body. So many times we wake up thinking, got an idea. It's not the time to be awake. This is the deepest, darkest time of the night. So when it happens that we wake up, it's a very contracted yang condition. This is probably where most people suffer. Very devout, shall we say, or spiritual people in Jewish practice as well, have a 2 a.m. Repair of the night, fixing the night or something prayer that they get up in order to do this deep, deep prayer. And it must be very powerful. Our bodies naturally contract and the pancreas becomes tighter as the body temperature goes down at night and also during cool weather and with aging, menopause, andropause. So we need to eat lighter, fresher food in these conditions. If our condition is already too tight, we are too tense in these conditions, then we contract further and we wake up. We can't stay asleep. Talking in our sleep is yet another yang condition, and urinating at night means that we can't hold the liquid in our bodies. So by now you can well understand the causes of an overly yang condition: excess salt, dry foods, too many roasted foods like seeds and nuts. Pumpkin seeds particularly are very good for people recovering because they don't have much oil and fat, and are not so good for people with a contracted yang condition because they don't have much oil. And finally, overcooking also makes us yang. Let's talk about, I was going to talk about hypoglycemia. Interesting topic, maybe we'll get to it in its own time. Let's finish off then, I'll speak just briefly about the feng shui of sleep, about bedroom use. So people use their bedrooms for all kinds of things. The bedroom and the bed are intended for two things only: sleeping and making love. People use their bedrooms for storage areas, for the Nordic track, or under the bed, or as a computer for home offices, or a second dining room, eating in bed. The bedroom is only for the bed. A starting point for good sleep is to get everything unrelated out. The bedroom should be clean and open, a space where you can settle down. Clutter is the next one. The worst place in the house to keep clutter is in the bedroom. That includes things under the bed, the storage, in the closet. Get the books and the magazines out. Family pictures belong in the family room. It can be confronting to ask people to clear out their bedrooms. People are very attached to their things and they don't want to change them and to move them. yet it can make a huge difference. Plants are great in the bedroom. It doesn't have to be a jungle. Don't worry about oxygen, carbon dioxide. 1 or 2 plants can be very helpful. Reading in bed is a bad habit. When you read in a reclining position, that puts strain on the eyes, which relates to liver function, right side. The best thing to do is to read in a separate room and then to go to bed. Even meditation is not a recommended bedroom activity. There needs to be a separation in our activities, a distinction among things we do in our life and sleeping. When we start to do everything in the same place, we don't get what we're seeking from our activity. So we need distinctions. Knowing that the bedroom is only for sleep makes an enormous difference. Keep the bedroom simple with nothing under the bed, the clock turned away from your head, and no clutter. So that's what I have to say about sleep. I hope it helps. I hope it gives you a better ability to fall asleep, to stay asleep, to understand sleep, and to eat well for sleep and for health. So I thank you very much. And again, thank you for attending our forum, and hope to see you this coming Monday at our Whole Health Macrobiotic Forum, which kicks off the 1st of June and then after the 1st of every month. So see you then.